creeping into the gospel. And he said 2 times, he said, that anyone preaches any other thing than the grace of God, let them be accursed. He says it twice. You know? So it was so serious to keep the gospel of grace, the gospel of grace. But last night, you know, when that girl was talking to that girl, and she was talking about spirits and stuff like that, that's not the gospel of grace. It's not, you know, it's like, it's a real, this, people are in such need to hear the gospel of grace.
It's, you know, in physics.
Physics?
Yeah, you know, where there's a vacuum, there cannot remain a vacuum. Something has to fill it.
Yeah.
And so, what was that? Somebody was saying about how, you know, just yeah, it was you. There's a dearth, or there's a lack of the Word of God.
It's a famine. It's a
In
famine.
the 20th century, 21st century. So, and so, like, this was like, the person I was speaking to had it in their family. So they said, you know, their grandfather was a pastor. But then they said that, well, said their grandfather was a minister. And that, but they had never heard the bead, not the bead story, but the truth that the beads reveal. You know, it's not like I didn't hear this bead story, you know, like walking through it. But this, the coming together, the full thought of God. And so if I don't have the full thought, I could have a religious thought. I could have some kind of idea that, you know, God is... We talked a little bit about being agnostic. Okay, so you believe that there's a God. I asked that question. And they said, yeah. I said, but can you know Him? Can you have a relationship? People can be God conscious and not your invitation to now come and have a morning, you know, and I think it's Matthew chapter 6 where it says, what must we do to do the works of God? And because it's in us to think that by doing what we do, that matters. Like we're active. So the new age, you know, there's many of us, you know, maybe they have a community or they have, you know, some sort of interaction with each other. That's meaningful to them because they're doing something. As opposed to, it's so funny, our next door neighbors, and so they have a daughter in school, and she had a friend there too. And they, you know, it was a teachers' conference that Friday. You know, the teachers, the school was closed because of teachers' conference, but they had no idea. I mean, like, you know, they said, we don't know. You know, it's like, you know, like it was just no school. That's all that mattered, you know, and like for whatever reason. And so, you know, people can grow up and they are been presented to them. I'm sure that, you know, the fact of not having school is because of this. That wasn't the issue. The issue was I'm out of school. And so the issue for the unsaved is like, I get to do my thing. You know, I'm busy living my life. You know, why are you talking to me about another life?
And they're enjoying their independence.
Yeah.
You're enjoying your independence. And that's the whole thing about getting saved is when you come to the end of that. When you in Ecclesiastes and you realize it's all vanity. It's all vanity.
That's a frightening place to get to.
Everything's all vanity. This is check me out now.
Well, it's either that or they turn and they become, you know,
It
hard.
can go the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just,
Yeah, it's the two requirements of them.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
He is a rewarder. So I think that's probably the people about the character and nature of God. That their concept of God. True.
If he was truly a loving God, how come he would allow,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
that's
You hear that all the time.
I work with a lot of unbelievers, so it's like, that is their thing. You worship this guy, can interject fall, sin, and, you know, consequences of man's behavior, which resulted in this, and that the whole world lies in the lap of the wicked one. It's not God's world. I mean, he's the creator, and that you have to get it out there, like we said many times.
I mean, it's people have not heard. Like you were saying, he's used religion as part of it. I don't want any part of that. And you know, and I said, I never figured that out. I just knew what I wasn't going to do. My religious upbringing, I don't want any part of that. And so that's, you know, looking back, it's not the gospel either. So Jesus had to deal with that. I mean, you know, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the Sanhedrin, I mean, all of that built into the culture, baked into Jewish culture. And he had to come and like say, you know, dead man's bones. It's like, okay, like, is there any good in it? And so this is what Nicodemus was after too, you know, against God's system. Oh, I know this. This was so interesting. Someone was doing a deep dive on JWs, new understanding. Anyway, so but if you speak against the institution, you speak against the system, that's equivalent to speaking against. That hard line of saying, okay, you know, you're not just mistaken or you're not just confused. You know, family members shouldn't speak to you. They teach that. You don't want thing that is so heartbreaking because theology is Armageddon. Armageddon. And conversation started. What does Armageddon mean to you? So why? Because to them it's like, so they are working towards getting, you know, to avoiding works. And they never know. You know, like there's this general sense like you may not.
Annihilation too, because their founder founded that religion based on the fact that how could a loving God send people to hell? Therefore, there is no hell. That was the basis of, you know, of course you have to cut out 3/4 of the Bible to not believe in hell. But on top of that, what is instead? Instead of hell, they must believe in annihilation. I showed a girl, 2 girls actually, right at the gazebo. That verse in Revelation, I think it's Revelation, in the presence of the Lamb and his angels. It says that, I think it's Revelation 16.
That's what,
They teach.
every time I think about just bad exegesis.
Yeah.
Goes off from there.
It's off the rail.
But it's in their Bible, so whenever I talk to them, I use the New World Translation. I go, come on, let's.
Because I mean, because it could have been changed.
Well, maybe you have
I always
to
check
know.
it first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Check the New World Translation.
How many, does anybody know Charles Trombley? Charles Trombley. He was one of Merlin Carruthers' friends. They used to go out together and
Never heard of it.
evangelize.
Praise of Eula, something
Right,
like that.
until his wife left, and then he changed his message. Couldn't praise him enough. But anyway, Anyway, Charles Stromley,
Okay.
I went to one of those meetings when I was younger in the Lord. And I went and I asked somebody, I said, where's the men's room? And I go, thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Thank you. They
Right,
walk
right.
away. I said, I need the men's room.
No, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, they were so much into it, they couldn't get me. He was one of and he was desperate. And he would look around and see if anybody knew anybody anywhere. Somebody told him there was a healing service at the Evangelicals tonight. Why don't you bring your daughter to see anything? I'll try anything.
Wow.
So he went to the healing service. I went to Jesus. They said, that wasn't God, that was the devil. He
Sounds
turned
like the
around and
Pharisees.
He said, well, then the devil ain't, his answer
What
was,
did he
well,
do to
then,
you?
he says,
Put mud on
What
my
was his
eye.
answer?
well, listen to his answer.
What
He
was his
said,
answer?
he says, if such a bad guy after all. And that was his testimony.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he used to
What a
preach,
story.
he said, there's so
What a
many
story.
people out there trying
What a story.
to figure out how many demons could sit on the pin of a needle. It was interesting.
Is he still alive?
Hmm?
Is he
I don't
still
think so.
I
alive?
think that you
Is
can
that
probably still find him, Charles Trombley. He's a pretty rough guy, and he was a sniper for the Coast Guard. And he was bothered by the people who had to take their children, from a distance.
So he had guilt.
He had a lot of guilt, but I kept talking, I would pray with him. Well, one day I asked, he said he wasn't ready to go to church, but his wife was. So, yeah, well, come on out. He comes out, she came out for 2 or 3 times, and I said to her, Jody, when? And she says, I read the little booklet they gave me at the church. She had gotten saved. And I said, well, what church were you part of? She says, I was a Jehovah's Witness my whole life. She got saved. It's like, it's amazing.
We're untaught.
Well,
Like,
she-
'cause they come to the door, this is the thing. So the vacuum sucks them into, and they don't tell you up front. It's like the
We're deceivers.
Yeah.
Hey, neighbor, we're deceivers. You want to hear about it?
The marketing, the opportunity
Network.
meetings.
Yeah.
Like everybody's making money, everybody's driving this, happy. Backstory is like,
It's like we
Yeah.
we have a family friend, in fact, she was godmother of some of my children. And she was a Jehovah's Witness, longtime Jehovah's Witness, but
Wow.
we had the most intense fellowship because she was saved. She was a believer before, but got sucked in. And when she would get around us, we had the most amazing fellowship around the truth of Jesus.
Genuine and so in love with God.
Yeah.
With Jesus.
you ask them, and
Oh my
they
God, how
came
can you
from somewhere,
How is it
and
possible you could hang on to that
Yeah.
teaching?
It's the
Yeah.
same as, not all Catholicism is so entrapped in religious Catholicism, but when I became born again, it was stark. I knew the difference right
Yeah.
away. I
The
tried.
Lord said to his disciples, beware the leaven of the Pharisees. So here his disciples, but beware the leaven of the Pharisees, meaning the teaching of the Pharisees.
Wow.
Because a little leaven can leaven the whole lump.
Yeah.
well, this is what everybody was like into his story. Like they really, like that's amazing. Getting knocked off your horse and blind for 3 days. They were really leaning in. And then when he started to talk about the resurrection, Jesus Christ being resurrected from the dead, they returned. And they were like,
Yeah.
no. And so,
Which is the main message.
yes, it is. And so here's need is that point of reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
God raised Jesus from the dead. That's a crucial element of
That's
our
it.
message. Talk about that. Because why? That'll get you in trouble.
Once it sparked persecution.
That's exactly correct.
300 years of horrible persecution from the Romans because
Just
but
move
they said,
over,
oh
Zeus.
no, it's in front of everybody.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. That
You
is so
know,
true.
what you said, Pastor Wright, about the church. And the reason why is like what you said, is this, they wanted to be taught. There was a hunger to be taught.
Right.
They were the only people that were offering all
Yeah.
these Bible studies to be taught.
Come right to your door.
The only problem was it was erroneous
Yeah.
teaching. They did it all, it was all like wolves in sheep's clothing, really.
Really? By
They
the
come
way,
to my door and they said, "You want to learn more about the Bible?" And I say, "Do you want to learn about it? Come on in."
the end of that story